Alright everybody, so before I begin this video, I kind of wanted to say a disclaimer. Now, this is a very polarizing topic about how to get sponsors. There's people on both sides of the industry, both YouTubers and professionals, that have different opinions on it. This video is just my opinion, but if you guys want a very, very well put together opinion on basically kind of like from the industry people in general, from the companies themselves, how to get sponsors from them, check out the Wired to Fish article that is down below. When I filmed the original part of this video, the Wired to Fish article was not out yet, but everything you guys need to know that I don't say in this video is linked down below, and I'll also try to put it up in the corner or something. But again, very polarizing topic. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's jump into it. Sure, it's a beautiful day for some fishing, man. But you know, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I think that I want some sponsors. Unless, man, what companies were you thinking? Well, you know, I throw a Strike King crankbait almost every single day anytime I go out in the water. And that Gary Yamamoto Cinco, that thing is golden. So I think those two companies there are pretty good to start with. But of course, I gotta get a truck sponsor. So I've been driving a Chevy since I was a little teeny boy on the farm. So, you know, I think those three companies are a pretty good place to start. What do you think? Well, you know, I think it's good that you're ambitious, but those companies might be a little bit hard to get from the start, you know? I think that, well, hey, I see all those pros like Mike Acronello and Brandon Polaniak getting free stuff all the time, okay? And so I just feel like I have what it takes to get free stuff. Well, yeah, it's true, but, you know, what kind of stuff do you do? Well, you know, of course, I fish all the local tournaments. So we got TTZ, we got Bass Champs, we got Big Sandy Creek Bass Club. I fish all the local lakes, too. We got Lake Travis, Lake Austin, Lake Buchanan. Heck, one time I drove 3.5 hours to a tournament. That's commitment right there, I'm telling you. You know, my tournament record's pretty good, too. I've never finished outside the top 50. What do you think about that? Nice job, dude. How many boats are usually in those tournaments? Well, you know, at least 25 most of the time. Sometimes they get up near 30, 35, but I promise, they're big deals. Ah, gotcha, okay. Oh, and I've got social media too. I got an Instagram, almost 250 followers. Dude, perfect, here I come. I can feel myself on the verge of fame. I'm so close. Well, man, it sounds like you got a few things going for you. I say you just kind of go for it and see where it goes. Well, thank you, man. That means a lot. Hey, I'll give you some free baits when I get all the sponsors in the world. Well, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tyler's Reel Fishing. Hopefully you enjoyed that sketch. It was a fun one for me to make, quite funny for me to write down on my phone the script, and it was inspired by Lake Fork Guy, another fishing YouTuber who used to do sketches on his channel as well. And so I kind of wanted to do that sketch in order to set up a topic that is not often talked about by a lot of people, but is asked about on an almost daily basis. I get direct messages on Instagram, Twitter DMs, YouTube comments, anything in between, people asking how do you get sponsors like the one I'm wearing on my shirt. So this video hopefully won't get too long. I'm going to try to condense it as much as I can, but I really want to answer kind of the question that many of you guys have about the fishing industry, and that is how to acquire sponsors. Now, I may go off track at some point and talk about different things, kind of a smorgasbord of topics here, but the main thing I'm going to talk about is sponsors, the way that I did it, the way that some other guys do it in the industry, and the way that possibly you guys can do it in the future. Let's get started. In 6th grade, I began to fish local club tournaments with a local club called Big Sandy Creek Bass Club. It's basically a local adult fishing club out of, I guess you'd call it, Marble Falls, Texas. And I decided to start fishing tournaments with them, and so I fished some tournaments with adults, and they also started a little youth section of Big Sandy Creek where an adult fisherman would take out a youth guy and kind of teach him everything he knew. And so that was kind of my first experience in the tournament world, and that's kind of the time when I started to look up to anglers like Brandon Polaniak, Kevin Van Dam, Gerald Swindle. The list goes on and on of the guys that I've looked up to for many, many years. And so this was even before I made my YouTube channel, before I thought I had any chance of getting any sort of sponsors. But I always wanted a company that I could represent. And of course, the end goal for everybody is to get stuff. You want your life as a fisherman to be easier, whether that's free product, a discount, pay, anything like that. We as fishermen want to make our lives easier, and so that is why we partner up with companies. One thing that I see quite a lot of people on YouTube saying is, I wonder how short this video could have been without the sponsor plugs, or I'm unsubscribing, you promote your sponsors too much. But a lot of the times what you don't understand is that without sponsors, we wouldn't have any sort of money or products to go out and use and make videos for you guys. And so that's kind of one myth that I want to dispel right away, is that we get sponsors, you know, just for the money. That's not always true. Sponsors help us as fishermen catch more fish. And so if me as a YouTuber has to go out several times a week and catch fish, I have to have companies that I am promoting in order to keep doing that continually. So in February of 2013, I started my YouTube channel, again with no intent to get sponsors. It was just kind of, I want to make fishing videos. It's kind of fun. I love action videos, I love wakeboarding. I want to turn fishing exciting. And so that's what I did. I added music, dubstep music, electronic stuff to fishing that nobody had ever done before. And I started to gain popularity because of that. And so if you guys have ever had a fishing channel out there, I'm sure you've gotten emails from companies, no matter how small you are, whether it's Amazon sellers, small bay companies, things like that. And so when I started getting into the several thousand subscriber range, every single week I'd get emails from companies saying, hey, we own XYZ jig company, we'd love to make jigs for you and have you use them in your videos and promote us. And I made the decision, a conscious decision from a young age, that I wasn't going to get sponsors until I had around 10,000 subscribers. I wanted to make sure I knew my way around the fishing industry before I decided to anchor myself down to a specific company. So one key thing that my parents kind of helped instill in me, from a young age, that also helps with the sponsor world is commitment. And so let's go on a journey and talk about commitment. In life in general, commitment is just a good thing. In marriage, you always want to be committed. Friendships, you want to be committed. Business partnerships, you want to be committed. And sponsorships is no different. Any company that I want to work with for a long time. And so that is why the first company that I ever approached about sponsoring was Power Poles. Those white things back there that anchor my boat down, when I'm launching the boat, when I'm bed fishing, when I'm fishing a dock, Power Poles were something that I knew I could fish for my entire life and never have to switch companies. And so I plan on being with Power Pole for the rest of my fishing career. And the same goes with my rod and reel company, Lose. I'll kind of talk about them later on in the video and kind of how I acquired such a big company like them as a sponsor. But I want to work with people that I can represent for a long time. And so that's why I think another kind of important thing that I want to teach you guys about sponsorships is that if you have the mindset of getting free stuff and moving along to a different company as soon as you get bigger, kind of the grab and ditch method, I'd say you're coming at it with the wrong mindset. In my opinion, it works out so much better for you if you build up a good reputation by being loyal to the companies that you promote, and don't just hop on a company because they want to pay you money, because they want to give you stuff. In my opinion, it's better to wait until you have a better reputation in the fishing industry the you start to go to companies, because I would rather deal with a few companies over my whole career and have a spotless reputation in the industry than I would jumping companies all the time and having to burn bridges and connect new bridges. It's just a hard game to play if you're trying to burn companies all the time. And so kind of the way that I've done it is stick with a few companies for a long time and you'll be good to go. Now the question of why do we need sponsors is easy to answer, because we need stuff to be able to keep doing what we're doing. We need lures to keep catching fish. We need money to keep putting gas in the boat. But the question comes about, why do sponsors need us? Let's talk about that. So every company out there is based on some sort of good or service. So let's say you're talking about 6 Sense crankbaits. They make goods, they make a lure. Let's say you're talking about a tourism company, they have services. And so a sponsor is a company that needs you to do something for them. So that could be selling the product yourself on your YouTube videos, on your Instagram, promoting those products, or it could be promoting the service, getting subscriptions for like Lucky Tackle Box like I do. I call that a service. So you as the angler are going to be promoting those products in your videos, in your Instagrams, fishing your tournaments, or you're going to be promoting those services in the same regard. Alright, so we all know that everybody can sell product in some regard, but the way that you sell product is most often very important to companies. So let's say that I'm sponsored by Skeeter Boats, the boat that I'm on right now. I'm currently not sponsored by Skeeter, at Skeeter if you want to hit me up, but let's say for the sake of this explanation that I was. So let's say that Skeeter told me, Tyler, we want to sponsor you, we want you to make awesome videos and sell some Skeeter boats, and I said, alright, I'm down. But my business model was to take girls in bathing suits and alcohol and doing crazy stuff and diving off this boat into water you don't know how deep it is. Sure, that might sell boats, but I guarantee you the executives at Skeeter probably don't want the reputation of their company to be seen as such. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that kind of behavior, but I think companies in general like to see their products and their services put in the best possible light for all scenarios. And with that brings us to the word reputation, which I think is almost the most important word in the fishing industry, and especially when it comes to getting sponsors. Now, I know plenty of fishermen in my years of meeting people that can just flat out catch fish. They are better at fishing than anybody that I've ever met, but the problem is they tarnish their reputation in one way or another, and so companies don't want to work with them. And so in the fishing industry, while you may think it's very big and there's tons of companies, everybody knows each other, and so you cannot burn bridges if you want to be successful in the fishing industry and acquire sponsors. And so basically, the first thing that I want you guys to work on before you even approach sponsors is your reputation. Me as a Christian, I adhere to a specific moral code because I know that's what God wants for me, but it also helps me in both my business relationships and out of the fishing industry. And so if you guys are to adhere to some sort of moral code, I don't know what that is for you guys, but I know that for me, it has helped me acquire relationships that are long lasting and that are strong because of my foundation in who I am and what I believe in, and the things that I will do and won't do. And to be honest, that's kind of where Luz came in. Luz had no intention of ever sponsoring a social media guy or a YouTuber until I came about, and I basically showed them that you know, I don't say anything bad in my videos. I love your products, I've used them for years, and through them talking to other guys in the industry and finding out that, you know, I was someone worth sponsoring, Luz was more than open to working with me. And so that's kind of how I got Luz, to answer that question, is fully based on my reputation and the way that I conducted myself in conversations with the guys at Luz. Now, the third thing besides selling product and garnering a good reputation for their brand, third thing companies want is for some sort of value for you to be created. So you may ask yourself, well, what does value mean? What does a company mean by we want value from you? Well, basically what they're asking is, what are you good at? So one good way to talk to a company is through email. And so if you're gonna email a company or direct message them, you're gonna have to tell them something that you're good at. Something I see way too often in the fishing industry is people that go up to a company and say, hey, I make these videos, can I have some baits? The whole premise of that is wrong. The whole premise of that is, what can you do for me? What can you as a company do for me as an influencer? And that mindset needs to change if you're gonna be successful in the fishing industry. So, you know, in your message or your email to the company, make sure you show them the type of value that you can provide to them. So instead of saying, hey, I can do this for some baits or I can do this for some money, basically just ask them, what do you need done as a company? Maybe you're good at making videos and they need video work done. Maybe they need photography stuff for their, you know, up close shots of their bait, and you've done photography stuff for a long time. Or maybe they even need some sort of writer to do writing stuff for their company, to write about the baits and services they provide. And so basically, whatever you are good at, pitch that to a company and let them know that. So then, of course, once you show the company that you can provide some sort of value, then and only then is it time for you to approach sponsors. There's no need for you guys to approach sponsors and want to get sponsored if you have nothing to provide for them in return. And again, folks, that right there comes down to reputation and mindset. If your mindset going into it is just, oh, I want to get free stuff, I want to get free lures that I can promote on my Instagram, but then again, you have no value. Companies are going to sniff that out real quick, and they're going to see this guy doesn't really have anything he wants to give to the company, so we're not going to sponsor him. And I see that happen all the time. I see people say, man, but I can fish really well. Why can't I get sponsors? And the answer is because you have a bad reputation, and because you conduct yourself in not very great ways. And so if you go in with a mindset of, I want to help this company grow, I want to help them make more products, I want to help them design things, I want to make videos for them, I want to grow this company, then and only then will a company say, well, dang, if they want to help us, I want to help them. You know, it's very mutual here in the fishing industry. We want to help each other out, and there are many, many great companies that can help you as long as you have something to provide to help them. And that brings me to my final point. Hopefully this doesn't offend anybody. You, yes you, you're not a professional fisherman. Now, I don't mean that you're not a good fisherman. There's plenty of good fishermen out there, but you are not a professional fisherman. And who am I speaking to right now? I'm speaking to a much younger version of myself. When I was young in my fishing career on Instagram and really an app called Fishing Scout way back in the day, I would always put in my biography, professional fisherman. And I see a lot of kids doing this nowadays, and it doesn't really apply to everybody, mostly tournament fishermen, but I see a lot of people that think they are professional fishermen, and then a lot of the industry as a whole is just kind of confused what the term professional fisherman means. And I'm going to give you my definition. It doesn't mean it's the right one, it doesn't mean it's the only definition, but I think it's the most comprehensive definition that truly defines what professional fisherman means. The dictionary definition for a professional says, of a person engaged in a specific activity as one's paid occupation rather than a pastime. And so I'm going to kind of encompass professional fishermen and practically anybody in the industry now, that the act of fishing results in you getting paid for the majority of your income. and if not majority, all of your income. So let's go through kind of several people right now who are and who are not professional fishermen. Myself right now. You may think, Tyler, you're one of the biggest YouTubers in the world. You have fished tournaments, you won tournaments, you've qualified for college championships. Of course you're a professional fisherman. You make money off of it, it's your job. But the thing is, I'm still supported by my parents for part of my college, for health insurance, car insurance, everything like that is supported by my parents. And so I am not a professional fisherman until all of my income, as it says in the dictionary definition here, a paid occupation rather than a pastime. Yes, it is a paid occupation for me, but I'm not a professional because I'm not doing it in a completely professional sense yet. Now, someone like, the Elite Series professionals, that's all they do. All they do is fish tournaments for a living. The act of fishing is their profession. And so that is why they are professional fishermen. And so I don't mean to break hearts or offend anybody right now, but if you believe that you deserve sponsors because you claim yourself as a professional fisherman, I was there at one point. I was in that stage until a professional fisherman, I'm not going to name who it was, but he came up to me and said, hey man, I care about you. I want you to know you're not a pro, but you can be. One day you can fish on the Elite Series like me. One day you can, as I never thought I would, do videos, do social media stuff. There are ways to make money in the fishing industry, but you are not a professional, and please hear me out. Don't call yourself a professional. It will end up better for you unless you are making your substantial income off of the act of fishing. So hopefully that made sense to you guys. I know that was probably a long, rambling video, but I feel like it had to be made. I'm definitely going to send this link to a bunch of people every time they ask me, hey Tyler, how do I get sponsors? It's pretty, I wouldn't say it's simple, but I say it kind of boils down to three main things. One, work on your reputation. Two, find out what kind of value you provide to companies and tell them that value. Don't keep it hidden inside. Don't think, oh, well, they know that I can make videos. No, you got to tell them, hey, I'm good at making videos. And three, kind of know your place in the industry. You may have to start low, and you may not get free product right away. You may get a discount first. And then after they see the kind of value that you have, they may decide to bump you up to a higher tier. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. It was a fun video for me to make. If I missed anything and if you have any questions, make sure you guys leave them down in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Tyler's Reel Fishing.